once in a while, I do this thing where I speak for extensive periods of time without stopping. And I like to record myself when I do this, usually when I want to record a video, because I do my recording of content alone. I have to press record on my device, and then I will come sit down and start talking or doing whatever I want to do. Then, depending on how it goes, I will have to stand up, go and pause or stop the video, maybe do something else, and then go back and continue the recording. I started to do the thing where I'll just set my device to record me talking about a topic, and I'll just talk and talk and talk without pausing the device, without stopping, without touching the device from beginning to end. The main reason I started to do this was because on my main YouTube channel, whenever it was time for me to do a talking head video about any hair topic, my main YouTube channel niche is natural hair care or healthy hair care. So I would observe that whenever it was time for me to do a talking head, talking about hair issues, maybe tips for healthier hair care or mistakes to avoid or anything at all, I would stumble over my words. I won't be able to talk for even a minute without pausing to think and think and think before I could continue. And the reason for this, I observed too, was because a lot of my tutorials were hands-on, were DIYs, were absent of my face. And for a channel that does constant DIYs, you already know that you don't do your talking in the process. You can do your talking in the process, but for me, I was doing voice overs. So you will not see my face on screen. And even when you see my face, it will be when it's time for me to use whatever it is I had done to demonstrate on my hair, or to demonstrate how to use it on my hair. So I would do a voiceover, and the thing about voiceovers is you have the time to polish whatever it is you want to say. You have the time to think, to script, to write it down before you start talking. Most of the times you may be looking at something and then you are talking over what it is you're doing. So when it was now time for me to actually talk, it was a problem. And I sat down to make one or two talking heads. I didn't like the way I sounded. When it was time to edit, I was cutting out so much of these videos. I was cutting out spaces between words. That, for example, if I say Ali is a boy, I will cut out between Ali and is, and then I'll cut out between is and a, and then I'll cut out something between a and boy. So it was not seamless. That was when I knew there was a problem and I had to fix it. The main way I decided to fix this problem was by doing videos where I just sit down and speak extensively about a hair topic without scripting, without using pointers or notes. So most of what I was going to be talking about was going to be from my own knowledge and understanding about the subject I was going to be speaking on. And to take it one step further, I did not private any of these videos. I set them to public, meaning people were going to watch it because it was on my main channel. And because of this, I was going to be forced to improve upon the next bit of content that I put out. Very effective strategy in case you are trying to improve your communication. Another reason I did this was because that's another reason why I started to do these extensive talking heads, was because I used to use a lot of speech fillers when I talk. I will be making a sentence or talking about anything, and I'll pause and say, all of these little things that I just didn't like the way that it sounded when I played it back and heard myself. And so I knew that by doing extensive talking heads, I was going to be able to pause, take my time when I speak, and get the idea or the sentence together in my head before I said it out loud. Now, when I want to upload this particular video, this one, I'm going to upload it at the normal speed that I'm talking at. And I'm also going to try my very best not to edit the video. Most of the times when I edit videos where I just talk like this is to reduce or take out the breathing noises, maybe a little background noise that may interfere with the seamless speech. Yeah, so that's just it. But if you are looking for a way to improve your communication, one of the ways you can do it is by talking heads. I know people are starting to say that talking heads are getting too much. There are too many people doing it, whether it's long form or short form. But I feel like talking heads will never go out of style. There are different ways you can do talking heads, and you don't have to put your talking heads or set them to public. You can set your talking heads to private, watch them back by yourself, observe whatever needs improvement, make your improvement, and then continue this until your communication is better. We already know that communication is something that is very important, whether or not you're a creator. You need communication in your day to day living. And there are a lot of people who cannot communicate well with others, who can't function normally in society because they can't speak well. Doing things like this is going to, or I things like this are things like this is doing something like this is going to improve the way that you communicate, the way that background noise. Doing things like this or doing something like this is going to make your speech better, make your vocabulary better, reduce your filler words, and also make you more confident on camera. Now, if you look at me, I am speaking and I am looking directly at the camera. When I first started doing talking heads, I could not look directly at the camera. Now I'm filming this content with my phone and I'm using my back camera. I use my back camera to film all of my talking heads. In the past, I have filmed content with my front camera. And the thing about using your front camera is you'll be distracted because you're looking at yourself in the viewfinder because you're facing the viewfinder, or when you use your back camera, you're looking directly at the camera because, or the lens, because that's where the action is going to be happening. And when you look directly at the lens, you're also looking directly at your viewer. When it comes to the iPhone, you have to figure out where your lens is. The way that I figured out my lens was by blocking the different lenses, and then that helped me to know which one was the lens that was videoing. So do this if you're trying to figure out which one is your lens. And also I have a mirror directly in front of my camera so that I can see my reflection in the mirror. So now I'm looking at the mirror, but now I'm looking at my lens, the lens of the camera of my phone, right? So what I decided to do was just talk and talk and talk as a way of improving my communication. And this is so effective, this is so efficient. So I did that, and obviously I got better at speaking in general. And my best observation is that my filler words reduced. When it comes to reducing filler words, one hack I can give you is not to rush through your speech. Take your time to make your sentences. I've said this before in a video somewhere, but one of the people that helped me to take my time forming sentences and speaking is former President Barack Obama. I was watching one interview with him and Trevor Noah, and I observed how slow he was to respond to questions. Apart from the fact that being slow allows you to think, being slow also allows time for your sentences to form and for you to be coherent. There is a difference between somebody that tries to rush through speaking, rush through talking about something, and somebody that takes their time to communicate whatever thoughts are in their head about that thing. When you take your time, you don't stumble all over your words. And hey, when you take your time, you don't stumble all over your words. You have time to put one word ahead of the other. You have time to actually use more words in your vocabulary, so you may not necessarily repeat the same words trying to say the same thing. There'll be enough room for you to get your message across while speaking in different manners, using different figures of speech where necessary. So this is my encouragement to you. If you have been looking for a way to improve your communication and you don't know exactly how to do that, the best way to do it and the best way to get results is by practice, just as with anything else. And the reason it got so bad for me is because I work from home, I work for myself. So whatever communication or majority of the communication that I make is between me and myself. I don't really engage with people by means or by way of working interaction, by way of exchanging conversations. I literally spend majority of my time at home working on my own thing. This means that I don't necessarily speak until it is time to make content, until it is time to do a voiceover. And we already know when you don't do something frequently, you tend to get a little bad at it. That was becoming the case for me, and so I observed it when it was time to make these talking heads. So if you're trying to improve your ability to communicate and communicate clearly, definitely talking heads are going to help you. The more you do them, the better you're going to become at communication, the better you're going to become at using your words, the better you're going to become at eliminating filler words and speaking seamlessly without the filler words. And the good thing is you don't even have to speak for long. You don't have to start with a 10-minute speech. You don't have to start with a 15-minute speech. You don't have to start with a 20-minute speech. You can start little, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. The more you do it, the more you're going to get better at it, and then you can gradually add time from there. Before you know what's happening, you're going to become so much better at communicating, and even you are going to like what you hear when you talk. Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in my next one.